Good evening, everyone. My mic on. Good evening, everyone. Call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday, September 14th, 2020. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. A few opening remarks before we get started. Again, as a reminder, City Hall is only open from 9 to 5, so public participation will be via remote access. City councilors have the option to participate remotely as well. The public will note that the council chamber has been reorganized to comply with the governor's social distancing policy of 6 feet of separation. So items for this council meeting, again, we'll be implementing the governor's executive order regarding relief for the open meeting law. This allows councilors to participate remotely, and so they can now, councilors now have the option to attend in person or participate remotely. All councilors are present, and we will conduct a roll call shortly to confirm. Councilors have been asked to review the agenda items before the meeting and contact the mayor and or the department heads to obtain answers to their questions prior to the meeting, so the meeting can be conducted efficiently. All our votes will be via roll call. The mayor is available should he be needed to address council questions. The council will be conducting a public hearing with the public participating remotely. We will try to make this as seamless as possible and ask for your cooperation and patience as we all work through this together. I will discuss this further before the start of the public hearing. I ask the members of the public that are participating to keep their computers and phones on mute until the public meeting portion of the program starts. We have 14 items on this evening's agenda. I will now ask the clerk to call the roll to confirm attendance.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner is present.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette's present.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas is present.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera is present.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish is present.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin is present.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis is present.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram is present.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing is present.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman is present.
And Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby is present.
11 yeas.
So with the roll call completed and all councilors in attendance, we will now proceed to agenda item number 1.
Minutes of the City Council meeting August 24th, 2020.
Mr. President,
Councilor Tenera.
accept and place on file.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept and place on file the minutes from our last meeting. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the minutes is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 2.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the application for a special permit from Local Roots Inc., New England Inc., to operate an adult-use marijuana retail dispensary at 910 Boston Post Road East, Suite 100, order number 20-100-8062. And in addition, we have a communication from Barbara and Abraham Nahumi at 39 Brimsmead Street regarding their opposition to the application for a special permit for marijuana retail dispensary at 910 Boston Post Road East.
Okay, regarding the public hearing, as I mentioned earlier, the council will try to make this hearing as seamless as possible and ask for your cooperation. So some key points as we go through the public hearing. Please keep your computer and phone muted when not speaking, unmute to speak, and mute when finished speaking. If calling in via the phone, unmute by pressing *6. Again, that's unmute your phone by pressing *6. Just like if the public was in the chambers, please be respectful while waiting for the public hearings to start, as the council needs to conduct its business. The system does not work When everyone tries to speak at once, we will do our best to get each individual an opportunity to speak. Please be patient. Do not watch the meeting on TV. There is a delay. Your remote access capability is real time. Should there be technical issues, we will recess and determine if they can be corrected. Our IT department will monitor the system for issues and will remove individuals who are disrupting the meeting. At the conclusion of the public meeting, the council will recess and the system will be cleared of participants, and the council will continue with the remainder of the agenda. As far as the public hearing will be taken in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city council. So at this point, I'll open the first portion of the public hearing, which is the public speaking in favor. Are there any members of the public speaking in favor?
Yes, if I may. My name is Rick Olstein. I'm one of the owners of Local Roots, as well as one of the owners of the property at 910 Boston Post Road. With me here this evening are my partners, Mike Stady, Catherine Trifolo, Dean Iandoli, and Anthony Brock, as well as our Director of Security, Ron McCord. As some of you may be aware, Mike and I have been long members of the Marlborough community. We've owned property in Marlborough for over 20 years and have headquartered our other businesses in Marlborough during that time. At this point, the corporate offices for Local Roots are also headquartered in Marlborough, so I wanted to emphasize that we are truly invested in the city and in the community, and that we believe that our company and our location are an ideal candidate for a special permit for reasons that we'll go into. So I'll turn it over to Dean Iandoli, who can give you some more background about the company itself, and then we'll cover some of the more specific elements of our site as to why we think it worked really well for visitors. Now you can click to slide 3 if that would be okay. No, one back, please.
Actually, one more back, Steve. Oh, sorry, this is Dean. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Thank you. My name is Dean Iandoli. I guess first of all, I want to thank the mayor and the city council for giving our company the opportunity to come to Marlborough and partner in business. Background of our company, my wife Catherine and I formed it back in 2017, and shortly thereafter Rick and Mike joined. We call it Local Roots. That's not that's by design. Catherine, my wife, grew up in Barrie. Michael grew up in Barrie. I grew up in Worcester, and Rick's kind of the outlier. Rick grew up in Newton. But just to emphasize, we very much have taken a central mass approach to our whole business model. Currently, our company is operating with the philosophy that what we're trying to do in this industry is control the whole process from the seed to the sale. You're seeing lots of entities getting licenses now, but what we're also seeing is there's a massive undersupply of product. So what we've designed is a company that operates where we cultivate our product, we manufacture our product, we package our own product, and then we sell it in our retail outlets. Right now we're operational in Barrie, where our cultivation facility is a hybrid model. We cultivate both outdoors and we cultivate indoors in Barrie, and that's been operational now for almost a year. In Fitchburg, we're operational. We were Fitchburg's first retail dispensary, and we found that working with that city has been really a delight. It's been a really positive partnership. In Framingham right now, we're licensed for both cultivation and manufacturing. Our cultivation facility there it's 20,000 square feet of cultivation space, and it's highly controlled. And then our manufacturing, where we'll be extracting and infusing different products, will also take place there. And we are licensed for our second retail store in Sturbridge, Mass. And we're under construction, and we're anticipating opening there sometime at the end of Q1 2021. As you all probably know, the legislation 935 CMR allows an entity to only own 3 retail spaces. So what we've done as a company is chosen very carefully and once again targeted the central part of the state. So if you look at Fitchburg to the north, Sturbridge to the south, Marlborough sets up to be a perfect intermediary to those two locations because it will remain really accessible to us. And I guess the tricky part of this whole process, and I know the city's been through this before, but siting, finding the right site. Finding the right site has been challenging. It's something that we've learned to take really seriously. Actually, the timing's perfect because about 2 hours ago I got a call, and I get these calls about once a month from a real estate broker or someone who will call and say, hey, I have a site and it's perfect for marijuana. It's zoned for it. That's the same thing. If I had like $1 every time I heard that, it's zoned for it. And it's true. That's box number one. It's got to be a site that is zoned for it, and because then the city or town's thought through the process. But one thing that we've learned on our end is that just because a site is zoned for an operation, that's only the beginning. And what we've done with our sites is, we begin to look deeper at things. The next step after zone for it is, well, is it a location that we can rent or operate in? In the case of 910 Boston Post Road, that's easy because Michael and Rick, their company, own the building and it's zoned for it. And then we run to the local city or town's bylaws. And the first thing you look back at is for setbacks, because that will then determine, regardless of whether it's zoned for it, is it going to meet the setbacks. In the city of Marlborough, they have two basic setbacks, and it's 500 feet from a school or a daycare. Is defined in the city zoning bylaws. And if we could go to the next slide, please, Steve. As we were looking through, our setbacks to satisfy those two pieces of the zoning, you can see in the middle, that's Boston Post Road. The circle around that represents basically, I padded it about 600 feet. And then to the top right and the bottom left are two yellow place marks, and those closest daycare centers as defined by the Department of Early Education and Care for Massachusetts. So that was another good box that we could check. So we knew that it was zoned for it. It was a good location that we had had the ability to control, and it met the setbacks that the city thought through when they were putting the zoning bylaws together. So the next step is you start thinking operationally. Well, okay, how's this location going to flow? Are there going to be people driving down Route 20 at 60 miles an hour, suddenly hitting the brakes and trying to take a left turn over 3 lanes of opposite bound traffic? In Sturbridge, that's something we had to think through, and we found a location that satisfied that. In Marlborough at 910 Boston Post Road, as you know, it kind of sets up really well there because, as Michael will go into in a minute, there's a traffic light, so that satisfies that. It's visible. We know that in Fitchburg, the police department really just wanted to have visibility on the location, and that's another consideration. So I guess what I'm trying to emphasize is that when we looked at putting our business in a city like Marlborough, it was a really detailed, thoughtful process, and we were able to check a lot of boxes. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to my partner, Mike Stady, who will talk more about the actual mechanics of the site.
Thanks, Dean. Steve, can you go to the next slide? Thanks, Steve. I'm just going to touch briefly on some of the benefits that we see for Marlborough. Obviously, you have the community impact fee of 3%. Based on our anticipated sales, and ranges are pretty varied these days, but we think $6 to $8 million in sales would lead to potentially $250,000 a year in impact fee to the city of Marlborough. In addition, there's a 3% sales tax that goes directly to the city of Marlborough, so that's another estimated $250,000. Part of our HCA calls for a $10,000 annual contribution, another financial benefit to the city. And then finally, again, we're going to harp on this local aspect of our company because it is truly what we're all about. As Rick said, we've owned this property for almost 20 years. His family's been invested in Marlborough for over 30 years. And, we're just committed to local contractors, local employees, a local job fair. That is something that's core to this company, and we'll continue that here in Marlborough. Next slide, please. So, as Dean touched on, we're really all about location. This location is on the east side of Marlborough. It's next to the Big Apple Deli, across from the Raytheon campus, and about a quarter mile from the Sudbury line. Nice part about this is, and partly this was by design by the mayor's office and your city council and your review board, but you now have 3 potential dispensaries located on the west side of town, the east side of town, and something more central. And this obviously spreads out the traffic and spreads out the location of these stores. But what it does, especially with our site, is we're going to draw a lot from the eastern suburbs. The closest dispensary going east is in Newton. And it'll be a couple of years before you have anything in Waltham or Watertown. And Weston, Wayland, Sudbury, Concord will never have anything. So those customers don't have to drive all the way through Marlborough to go to the other side of town, or even halfway through Marlborough to go to the store that's currently operating. They'll be able to just come to our store. Mitigates the traffic to the town. As Dean pointed out, we have a traffic light. So it just increases the safety of ingress and egress into our site. We have 2 points of ingress and egress, one on the very eastern side of our property, one on the western side at the traffic light. And finally, we're in a 4-lane section of Route 20. What this means is people slowing down even at the light, or if they miss the light and go in at the second entrance, they have a lane and there's another lane for people to pass by. All these aspects just increase the safety of our site, the visibility of our site, and the safety for our customers while minimizing traffic to the city. Again, why we think this is a perfect site. And finally, the other aspect of our site that I think is very strong is that we have more than ample parking. We have 32 dedicated spots. Our estimates based on our other stores, as well as the Institute of Traffic Engineers estimates, indicate we need only 28 spots for the store. We've dedicated 32. There's more available. And most importantly, when the store is busiest, which is after 4 o'clock and on weekends, we have 95 parking spots available. Rick and I have been coming to this office every day, 5 days a week, for the last 17 years. And I can assure you at 4:30, this parking lot is empty. So again, it increases safety, visibility, and comfort for our customers. So for all those reasons, we really think this is a fantastic site for this use, and we hope the City Council will support it. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Security. He's going to talk about our actual floor plan and some of the security measures that we use at all our sites, and certainly we'll be using here at this site. Ron, take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Steve, we'll go to the next slide, please. Like Mike and Rick said, my name is Ron Lecqui. I'm the Director of Security for Local Routes. They hired me back in April of 1999 after wrapping up a 32-year career with the Fitchburg Police Department. One of my responsibilities is to create security plans. What you have in front of you is not a floor plan. That is a site plan. Can we go one more slide, Steve, please? There we go. What you have in front of you is the floor plan. My responsibility is to add details to that floor plan and present that to the city, to the Chief of Police, and to the Cannabis Control Commission for your approval. What I look at is adding cameras, access control, and alarms to that floor plan. I'm going to touch upon each briefly. Cameras. Cannabis Control Commission insists that we have camera coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have to maintain at least 3 months worth of storage for those cameras. Camera coverage on the exterior of the building, they insist upon 360-degree coverage. So Mike talked about, and Rick and Dean, about the overall layout of the property. I'm going to talk about what we're going to do to the building itself to make it more secure. Camera coverage 360 degrees on the outside. Exterior lighting, safety lighting, to ensure that we can produce good quality camera coverage in the event there's some type of investigation. Inside the facility, the Cannabis Control Commission insists upon camera coverage anywhere there's cannabis and anywhere there's cash. We as a company have also added on our own additional camera coverage to monitor general operations. In the event there's some kind of a loss of diversion, we'll have additional technology to help us with that investigation. Access control. We'll use, like most of us are used to, key fobs and electronic locks to control employee movement throughout the facility. Cannabis Control Commission insists upon certain parts of the facility to be limited access areas. Only necessary employees are allowed in those facilities, those rooms. The access control, the digital access control will create a log in the event of an investigation. We also use, if you look at the bottom left-hand section of that floor plan where you see awning, the bottom awning, that's our vestibule. So the general layout of the facility is to also design to control the flow of customers and guests as they come onto the property. Like you see in most schools and government buildings, the front door will be locked. A security person, I'll talk about in a few minutes, will see a customer approaching the front door. He or she will buzz the front door and allow that person into the vestibule. Once inside the vestibule, we'll check their government ID, ensure that they're 21 years of age. If there's sufficient room inside the retail space, we allow them in. Again, access control in it, and it gives us the opportunity to control folks coming onto the property, ensuring everybody's there for the right reason and everybody's 21 years of age. Alarms is the third detail that I'll be adding to these floor plans. Without getting into too much of the details, imagine the security at a bank. Well, we are implementing multiple layers, redundancies of alarms in the event of equipment failure or someone decides they want to break in some unconventional manner. They'll have multiple layers of alarms to ensure early detection. And obviously early detection is important. The sooner we can get Marlborough PD there, the sooner we can prevent some kind of a loss. Real quickly, all that technology is not doing us any good without good, solid policies and procedures. So I will write up security policies and procedures, present them to the town and the Cannabis Control Commission for your approval. I love to sit down with local law enforcement, pick the chief's brain or his representative and get some feedback from them, look for what they're looking for, what concerns they have, and we address those within our policies and procedures. And finally, personnel. We hire 2 full-time security staff that are working during operational hours. One's assigned inside the facility and one is assigned outside the facility. Other companies will go to outside vendors, and we feel that additional investment for us, we're able to screen those people, background investigations, train them up, bring in security professionals, so we get good quality folks there. And as Local Roots employees, they're dedicated to security and they're dedicated to the company. We believe we put out a better product. The individual inside takes care of the duties I described earlier in the vestibule, and the individual outside, which is a lot of times a concern for communities, local law enforcement, and the Cannabis Control Commission, are ensuring no on-site consumption in the parking lot, no one under 21 in the parking lot, and no loitering in the parking lot, as well as other responsibilities. In the effort to remain brief, I'm going to leave it there. Look forward to answering your questions, and I'm going to turn it over to Rick for our conclusion.
Thank you, Ron. If you don't mind clicking to the last slide, it really just sort of wraps up. But we do want to emphasize that we are truly a locally owned and operated company. The people that you see here appearing before you tonight are the people who will actually be running this location as well as the overall organization. We take great pride in our company. We take great pride in our role in the city, and we feel really strongly that our location, for the reasons that we mentioned tonight, in addition to the fact that I'd also like just to mention that we have very few of any residential abutters, which has been an important consideration for some of these kind of dispensaries. We really feel that we can create a win-win situation for our company as well as for the city, and we appreciate your consideration.
Okay, Mr. Olson, so that concludes your presentation?
It does.
All right, thank you very much. I ask that you and your team stay on to answer potential questions from any members of the public and/or the counselors as we go through the rest of the public hearing format. And again, to reminders for the folks listening, those who want to participate, please state your name and address. So, continuing with the public speaking in favor. Are there any members of the public speaking in favor?
How do you do that?
Any members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? With that, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public. Are there any members of the public that have questions for the applicant? Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Oh, and reminder, if you're on a phone, to unmute, it's *6. Again, *6 to unmute your phone. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? And again, if you're on the phone, it's *6 to unmute your phone.
Both phone participants are unmuted.
Thanks, Scott. Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. And now, questions from the city councilors. Are there any members of the city councilors with questions for the applicant?
Mr. President.
Councilor Oram.
Thank you. During the presentation, it was mentioned that there may be, or maybe I misheard it, that they cultivate on site. I thought I heard the potentials there to cultivate both inside and outside. If that is the case, and if that is true, where is the outside cultivation taking?
Yeah, I think there might be a little confusion there. The cultivation is at our Barry location, which is out in Western Mass. And at that location, we cultivate indoor in a greenhouse as well as outdoor, in a field. But there will be no cultivation taking place in Marlborough.
Thank you for that clarification. I misheard. I was looking at your plans going, okay, where would that be? And then the note, and I'm sure the committee will handle any questions above and beyond, but traffic, you did a good job on presenting tonight. I'm very impressed with the fact you have a light there as well as 4 lanes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Are there any other questions from the councilors? Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. On our public hearing form, we have this listed as 910 Boston Post Road East, Suite 100. And on your floor plan security, it's 910 Boston Post Road East, Suite 190. I'm just interested to see where this actually is located inside the building. Is it 100 or 190?
I think that was a typo. It is 100. It's located, if you're familiar with the building at all, it's in the space that used to be painless flooring.
So when you first walk in to the left?
No, actually, the front door of our space will not face Route 20. The front door of our space will face the building where the Big Apple Deli is. So you would have to, as you come in, if you come in on the driveway by the light, as you proceed, the building will be on your right-hand side, and our door will be on the right-hand side. So you can't really see the front door from the street particularly well.
Thank you for that clarification.
All set, Councilor Dumas?
Thank you, yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I know the area well. I live about a quarter mile from it. I do have a couple of questions. You have a single door for entrance and exit, or is there more than one door?
Ron, does our current design have the the indoor and the outdoor right now, or I think at this point we're showing a single door, but we are evaluating an option to have two doors. Either way, it'll be controlled in one vestibule, where everybody will be basically contained in a man trap, for lack of a better term, and then they'll be able to enter into the dispensary. I don't know, Ron, do you want to add any color to that?
Yes, so we are having some conversation about possibly putting a knee wall in between the interior entrance and exit doors to ensure that those that are leaving can walk out the door and those coming in are directed towards the entrance. We're just kind of working out the details still. We have it set up that way at our Sturbridge facility, and we're considering implementing the same thing in our Marlborough facility.
Okay, thank you. One other, you said that you're working on a location in Framingham to do growing as well as manufacturing, right?
Yes, in Framingham, we're currently under construction for an indoor cultivation and manufacturing facility. Construction scheduled to be complete by fourth quarter of this year, and we expect to commence operations in the first quarter of 2021.
Where's the location in Framingham?
Tripp Street.
Tripp Street, okay, thank you, appreciate it.
All set, Councilor Doucette?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions from the councilors? Councilor Landers?
Thank you, Mr. President. Getting back to the building itself, I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago that I did drop by, I saw the building. I assume that your operation will be on the first floor, you know, facing towards the restaurant. I'm just curious, what will be on the, okay, you have solely the whole first floor for your operation, and then after you answer that, what would be the top floor? Is that where your offices are or other businesses? I forget how it's set up.
Yeah, so our operation will have its own dedicated entrance and also has a dedicated rear entrance, so it'll really operate independently. The balance of the first floor spaces are accessed through the front door, which currently faces Boston Post Road. That door takes you into a common lobby, and then we have hallways that feed the offices on the first floor, as well as access to the stairs and the elevator. So the balance of the building are commercial office spaces, including our office, which is on the third floor, and then the second floor, we have a variety of office tenants.
Okay, now I remember, I understand you did have an elevator there, so it's a bigger building, a bigger operation than I thought. Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Any councilors in the chamber? Councilors on remote? Councilor Wagner?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's hard to tell looking at it dimensions, but from what I see outlined in dark blue, that's the vestibule where people will be coming in and going out, right? How can you estimate, help me understand how big that space is, like how many people can it accommodate? Because you'll be walking in, new people have to fill out forms, right? So there could be a lot of congestion in that spot with people exiting and entering. What's the size, and can you help me understand that?
Sure. We won't allow for any congestion in that spot because we'll control the access through the front door, but I'll let Ron answer that in a little bit more detail.
So we have a similar setup in Fitchburg, and by having that front door locked and the interior doors locked, especially with COVID right now, we only allow one person in the vestibule at a time for COVID reasons, and it just gives us much better control. So we will use, even after COVID, when we have certain occupancy, my security agents pay attention to how many people are in the retail space, and they let people from the vestibule enter the retail space. They free up the vestibule and let one person come in, and we check that person. We don't do any forms in the vestibule. I know some other places do that. Anything like that takes place at the retail space. The only thing we're doing is checking their government ID in the vestibule. So their stay there is very short.
And if there's happens to be a very busy time and a lot of people show up at the same time, if there's only one person allowed in, where are the people waiting? Are they lined up outside?
Yeah, they're lined up along the side of the building, nowhere close to Route 20, and we have plenty of space in the parking lot there, to allow them to queue up and wait for their turn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Wagner. Any other councilors on the phone, on remote with questions? Councilor Roby?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is in
We lost you, Councilor Roby. We'll give you a minute to see if we can correct the... Is she muted? Sounds like you're muted, Councilor Roby. Well, sounds like you're muted, correct terminology.
Does that help?
Is that something?
Yeah, Council Roby, you're muted.
We'll ask the participants on remote to stand by while we try to correct the microphone capabilities for Councilor Roby.
Have her disconnect and reconnect.
Yeah, Councilor Doucette, it might be advantageous, Councilor.
She heard that.
Great minds think alike. So just bear with us for a moment. Are there any other councilors with any questions for the applicant while we wait for Councilor Roby to reconnect? Any other councilors with any questions?
Actually, one other question.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much. What do you expect the time frame to be for bringing this online?
Well, I guess that all, will be triggered off when or if we might be approved. But once approved, we expect, I would say, 4 months for construction. And I think I'll let Dean answer the question about the actual timeline because he handles all the compliance with the CCC and has a really good window into how that works.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick. So we've already submitted our full application to the Cannabis Control Commission. They've actually, over the last 3 months, they've apparently brought on more staff, so they're processing applications more quickly. I usually give 90 days before we hear back that the application's deemed complete, and then at that point, they'll send it up for a vote for a provisional license, which they have 90 days to do. Once we receive the provisional license, we finish our construction. We're inspected, and once our inspection passes, we go to final license. So, if everything goes well, having gone through the HCA process and receiving that and allowing us to get that application in, that's beneficial because that's now in motion. So if everything goes well, I would anticipate by the end of quarter one, beginning mid-quarter two of 2021. And if it's okay, if I could just I just wanted to follow up on something Councilor Wagner had asked about the queuing. One thing that we've seen actually in our Fitchburg location, which is a very busy location, but one thing we've seen consistently, everyone at first a year ago was a little bit gun shy when Cultivate opened, and it became just this massive crowd showing up. What we have in Fitchburg is 6 cars in the parking lot all the time. It's like one person leaves, another one comes in. It's been a really regulated flow, and that's how we anticipate, this whole industry moving forward. But I think the days of the big long lines where, 75 cars show up, I think they're long gone. That was a circus. It's 6 cars all the time. Thank you.
The other thing I would add to that is through the whole COVID thing, we've really put a huge emphasis on ordering online, ordering ahead, phone ordering. So it makes it far more efficient for us to be able to process those orders, have them ready for people to come in. I think Dean could probably answer what percentage of our orders come in as pre-orders, but it's a pretty high percentage.
It's very, very much a growing percentage. As part of the COVID protocols, the commission allowed us to start curbside. In Fitchburg, we first had to go to the planning board and, make sure it was okay with them. And, given that things were changing so quickly, they approved it. And that's actually grown to be about 20-25% of the business. You still have the majority of people who do want to actually, have the shopping experience and actually talk to someone. But pre-orders, it's not uncommon to, for our general manager to show up in the morning and have, 50 orders already pre-ordered. which is great because we can fill them, and then there's a real even flow as people come in. It's not necessary that they spend much time. They come in, they pay, and they leave.
Does that work, Councilor Doucette? Yeah. Okay. Councilor Roby, do we have you back?
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay, thank you. So as I was trying to say, this is in urban affairs, so the next step from the participants or the would be a decision that you need to submit for us to look at. So we have 2 of those already approved, so that is something that you can look at for the language of what you would need to put into that with the conditions. Of course, it would be site-specific. I don't know if you've been to site plan or if I assume you'll need to go to site plan to get the actual plans looked at. I know in your actual application and the PowerPoint that I received don't match what I saw on the screen tonight. So I don't know if there was an updated PowerPoint that was sent that I missed getting. So I guess I'd like to make sure the plans that we're looking at are final plans and exactly what we're looking at when this gets to urban affairs. A question that I would have, just for the record, Ron's last name, it's just showing up as guest. So I know for the public hearing records, if somebody doesn't already have it, if we could have him spell it, please, that would be helpful.
I have all
It's
the
Lecuyer.
participants.
It's L', E-C-U-Y-E-R.
And if I mispronounce it at Urban Affairs, I apologize now.
That's okay, I'm used to it.
And the other thing, for the record, Mr. President, we do have also on the agenda a letter from the Nahomi family who are opposed to any dispensary, not specifically this one. So make sure that they get added into the public opposed.
Yes,
if we can.
that's
Other
good.
than that, I don't really have any specific questions for the petitioner at this point. I'm sure there'll be lots of them that come up as we take this up in urban affairs.
Thank you, Councilor Roby, and the city clerk assures me that that will be included as part of the record in opposition to the application. So with that, are there any other questions from the city councilors? Any other? Councilor Perlman?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm curious if the applicant can speak to the interplay with the current existing dispensaries, especially given that one just went through, and if there's any intention to collaborate or if there's like a saturation in the market. I'm just curious. I know you spoke a little earlier about the east side, the next one being located in Newton, and I'm just curious if that's been under consideration as well.
We haven't had any direct conversations with any of the other dispensaries. We, in the course of business, have interacted with Garden Remedies and have a good relationship with them, and are certainly open to any kind of symbiotic working relationship that might make sense. But no, there's no arrangements in place, and our store will stand on its own. As mentioned, we will be manufacturing and producing our own product. Selling it at our own store, and we'll be taking care of our business.
All set,
Thank
Councilor
you.
Perlman?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, again, any other questions or comments from the councilors? Question or comments from the councilors? Question or comments from the councilors? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. This item is in urban affairs, and I will ask for a 2-minute recess for our staff to clear the lines. Thank you, everyone that participated.
Thank you all very much.
Call the city council back to order at 8:47, and we will proceed with agenda item number 3.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $440,000, which moves funds from economic development to MEDC funding to fund the purchase of 481 Elm Street as a potential site of the West Side Fire Station.
Counselor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion has been made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Counselor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr.
President, I did have a...
Hang on.
I got you first.
Hold on. Counselor Doucette is first.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. I think this can get covered in the committee hearing, but I was surprised it came from economic development versus free cash. You know.
I mean, I can answer it now for you if you'd like.
Sure, yeah.
So just as a point of information, remember the governor's order allows us to use the hotel tax and the meal tax at our discretion right now. Using that now instead of free cash keeps our free cash solid for the fiscal year 21 in October when we get our free cash certified. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay. So then the following question, how much cash do we have within that?
The hotel?
The hotel.
1.2 million.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Council Landers.
Yeah, I believe in the mayor's letter, Mr. President, it mentioned that prior to the final approval, there'll be a hearing for both the public and for the city council. Does that mean we will have a public hearing on this?
No, again, this is for a potential site, not the site. So we don't know yet, but this puts us in a position to use this land should we go there. But whatever site we decide, or the mayor decides on, he will then probably have a hearing so that the council and the public, but not for this particular purchase.
Okay, now, if we move forward on this, I think when I went by the other day, if I have the right site, there's a pending on that site?
Again, I'm guessing, and I'll go to the realtor in the room, but the city has a offer on the property, so that pending would be the city's offer.
Are we the pending?
That would be my guess.
Pendor?
That is correct, Council Landers, yes.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying, Mr. President, it's something that we probably have to move on because you don't want to lose it. But I know I've received a couple calls and a couple emails, and I imagine others have. So it makes me feel good that, there will be further debate on this, on the whole site of the fire station. I guess it's the best way to put it.
And I'm sure Council Irish will have a Finance Committee meeting here in the short term to air all those issues out.
Right. Very good. That's all I need to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Landers. Any other councilors with any comments? Seeing none on the motion to refer to the Finance Committee, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Council Irish votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Council Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas.
The motion to refer to the Finance Committee is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 4.
Communication from the mayor regarding a proposed salary increase for the comptroller treasurer position.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to advertise and refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing and hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Irish.
Council Irish votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
11 yeas.
On the motion to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise, it is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 5.
Communication from the mayor regarding proposed salary ordinance amendment and updated job descriptions relative to the positions of Director of Veteran Services and Paralegal.
Counselor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to advertise and refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing and hearing none, I will ask the... Oh,
A clarification question. So I couldn't, is this for a new veteran service director, or is this to increase for an increase for the existing service director of veteran services?
no, it's to adjust the current salary schedule for the veterans agent that is currently in that position.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments or questions on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll. Again, this is to refer to finance and to advertise.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Council Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to refer to Finance Committee and to advertise is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from the mayor regarding proposed ordinance amendment to Chapter 328, Section 2, Fire Department fee schedule as recommended by Fire Chief Breen.
Counselor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to advertise and refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion has been made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing and hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Wagner.
Council Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from Assistant City Solicitor Jason Peaks regarding the application for an LED sign special permit from William Camuso on behalf of Lincoln 431 LLC, Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street in proper legal form, order number 20-100-7948G.
Mr. President.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move this to agenda item number 14.
There's been a motion made and seconded to move agenda item 7 to agenda item number 14. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Council Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
And Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to move agenda item 7 to agenda item 14 is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 8.
Communication from the Retirement Board regarding consideration of a cost of living adjustment pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 32, Section 103I.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the communication, please.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication from the Retirement Board. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I just want to comment. I reached out to Margaret Shea, and they did approve it, the cost of living increase, so that's good. So just want to make note of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Are there any other comments or questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Council Landis votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
And Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the communication from the Retirement Board is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 9.
Application for a livery license from Edward Zolodev, DBA Easy Airport and Limo Services, to operate at 15 Indian Lane.
Thank you,
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please refer to Public Service Committee.
Motion has been made and seconded to refer the request to the Public Services Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion?
And I hope to move on this rather quickly, probably have a meeting within, a week or two.
Thank you, Councilor
Okay,
Landers.
thank you.
Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to refer this to the Public Services Committee.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Council Landis votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
Motion to refer to the Public Services Committee is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 10.
Minutes, boards, commissions, and committees.
President Ossing.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept and place on file the various minutes from the boards and committees. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Council Landis votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
Motion to accept and place on file the minutes is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 11.
Claims.
President Ossing.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I motion to refer to legal the claims.
Motion's been made and seconded to refer the claims to the legal department. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Council Landis votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to refer the claims to the legal department is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Reports of committees. Who wants to go first? Councilor Landers.
Oh, you'll be sorry because, Mr. President, this is going to be a long one. No, actually, Public Service Committee met on 2 occasions, plus we had a public hearing. If you recall, that was order number 20-100-8042, the communications from Mayor Vision regarding the proposed amendments to the Code of the City of Marlborough's Chapter 540, solid waste, making changes to the transfer station, residence drop-off center, and operations and fee. And the reason I bring up the fact that there was 2 meetings and a public hearing, I think the committee and the rest of the city councilors, they realized that, Mr. President, this was something important to the city. You know, we had a good situation going on down there, but when the city took over, you know, it improved in many ways, but then the Department of Public Works, they realized that, even though it looks better, it's operating pretty good, that we have to start looking at the financial part of it. You know, we had some situations where people were abusing it. You know, one person was bringing in too many TVs or too many washer dryers and so forth like that. People were making, you know, probably bringing stuff from out of town. So they put a good plan together, and that's, Mr. President, what my committee and the rest of the city councilors, we worked on. And Acting Commissioner Scott was excellent. He spent a lot of time with us. He answered our calls when we called him. And he made a couple of good presentations. We went over the past history, how the stickers work, how they don't work, the fee structure. And, you know, some of the highlights of this, and I think the thing the residents keep in mind, you know, the fee amount is the same. There was no the desire to basically raise the fees, you know, in which I think is good, because sometimes that would be the best way to go. But what we decided to do was implement things that would cut down, because the waste business out there, the recycling business is changing all the time. You know, one day that cardboard is worth $75 a ton, and the next day there's no value to it. So we had some good discussions. They set up recommendations that we talked about, we questioned, we kind of, you know, worked on, and what's best for the citizens, what's best for the city. And, you know, we basically took the documents that the Department of Public Works put together. We made a few changes, and I think it's going to be very successful. A couple areas we did, and I appreciate the input from my colleagues on the council. You know, we did make some amendments that we thought we should work, and that basically the amendment that we worked on most was, I think, the Section B of Chapter 540, when we get into different types of items, that pay items are a single load electronics and bulk waste as defined in the regulations, meaning that you can still bring these items, but it's under control. You know, they love the computer, handheld computer they have down there, and they can control how many trips you make in, you know, what you bring in. So I guess to sum it up, and what I see here is that we have a transfer station, or a resident drop-off facility that was good. It's going to be much better, and in the long run, it's going to be better, but I think the city's going to be able to, it's going to cost less money. I'm not saying we're going to make more money on it, but it's going to, you know, cost us. And the other thing is, it'll continue to keep the city clean. I don't think you're going to see, you know, the TVs along the side of the road, which we haven't had for many years. So I guess I'm going to sum it up, by Mr. President, by saying that, you know, I thank my committee, I thank the other city councilors, I thank the Department of Public Works, because I think we're taking this on, and what I hope that gives you another week to think about it, but I'd like to bring this to a vote before the full council a week from tonight. Because I know everybody's anxious to get moving. I know some of the people down at the transfer station, they're dying to get those stickers. But even that, the way, Mr. President, that they handled this during this transition period, you know, they didn't give anybody a hard time. No, bring it in, you know, not demo stuff, but bring it in and use your sticker that you had. If you don't have a sticker, buy one, but that'll go towards the one this year. They really, it pleases me the most that they had it planned out, and then over and above the fact that the crowd that works there, the place never looks so good. It's amazing. They keep up with the brush and the leaves and all that kind of stuff. And again, I got to give a big applause to the acting commissioner. I think it went well. So I could go on and on and on, but unless you have any questions, my plan is to put this on the agenda for the next meeting on the 21st, and if it's successful and then we voted, that will be off and running. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Landis. So as you stated, this will be on next week's agenda, and just a reminder, our city council meeting is next Monday night. It's a little unusual, but it is next Monday night. Thank you, Councilor Landis. Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City Council Personnel Committee met on September 8th. We had two items on the agenda. Order number 20-100-8079 is the appointment of Michael Cabral to the Parks and Rec Commission for a term to expire 3 years from the date of City Council confirmation, which will hopefully be next week. We just talked to Mr. Cabral about why the rec department, he works with the softball and soccer within the city, as well as with the food pantry. We had no issues as a committee. We voted 3-0. And then the next item on the agenda was order number 20-100-8080, the appointment of Emily Wild to the Cultural Council for a term to expire 3 years from hopefully next week when we vote. Ms. Wild stated that she was a transplant. She worked at the library as well with the city of Marlborough. She actually worked with Rosetta Stone, which actually was a pretty interesting conversation where she actually dealt with a lot of cultural issues to bring that to the actual organization. So I didn't think that this would have been a perfect fit for her to be on the cultural, as well as my colleagues on the personnel committee, so we voted 3-0. We adjourned at 7:09. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dumas. Are there any other committee? Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a tentative date of September 22nd for the Finance Committee, and the rest of the council will be holding a tentative date on the 22nd for Finance Committee. A lot of things in the queue that we want to get through. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Irish. Any other councilors? Hearing none. Moving on to agenda item number 12.
Ordered that the City Council consider the feasibility of adopting a process whereby murals will be allowed in the city as a means to further the cultural and artistic value of the city's downtown district, submitted by Councilor Perlman.
Mr. President.
Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm really excited to kind of give just some brief remarks on this and hope to move it to Urban Affairs. So really wanted to kind of talk around my own process for wanting to put this forward. And this happened prior to my time on the City Council, as I was really interested in bringing the value of the community and sense of pride that murals can bring. Since the time of kind of having this interest prior to my time on the Cultural Council, I was able to see the impact of murals on other communities and do some history, both talking to the city solicitor as well as the proposed public art ordinance that occurred back in 2008 but was not actually brought forward to the council. Adding murals can also attract local businesses, revitalize the neighborhoods where they're located, and increase foot traffic in proposed areas. Recently, with the new developments and interest to bring both young professionals and economic support in our downtown district, murals are a great way to assist in bringing attention to our downtown. And I also think this is really just a great addition to complement both the light boxes that we see across the city as well as the museum in the streets, and really celebrate our city's rich history. And so I think that the City Council should really develop this process so there is an actual format for murals to come through the city and be able to be regulated. So I am excited to take on this work, and I motion to refer this order to the Urban Affairs Committee. Thank you.
There's been a motion made and seconded to refer to the Urban Affairs Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes no.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
10 in favor, 1 opposed, sir.
The motion to refer to the Urban Affairs Committee is approved, 10 in favor, 1 opposed. Agenda item 13.
Order number 20-100-7976B, proposed rezoning of land off Valley Street identified as map 82, parcel 125. And the recommendation of the Urban Affairs Committee is to approve.
Mr. President,
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the recommendation of committee. I'm sorry.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the recommendation of the committee, which is to approve the zoning change for Valley Street. Again, this is an ordinance, so it'll go through the 4 stages. Is there any discussion before we go through the 4 stages? Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am in favor of any potential building or construction in this site. I still have an issue with the potential issues that it could have on the abutting parcels next to this area, so I will not be supporting this. But I do support any project potential that would go there. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Irish. Any other comments or questions from the councilors? Seeing none, I will, let's see, all those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second reading, roll call, please.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes no.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes no.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes no.
8 in favor, 3 opposed, sir.
So that is approved, 8-3. All those in favor of the passage to be enrolled, roll call, please.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes no.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes no.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes no.
8 in favor, 3 opposed, sir.
That is approved, 8-3. All those in favor of the passage to be ordained, roll call, please.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes no.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes no.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Thank you. Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes no.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
8 in favor, 3 opposed, sir.
That is approved, that portion. Is there any objection to the passage in one evening? Any councilors object to passage in one evening? So I object to passage in one evening. This will be placed on our September 21st agenda. Agenda item 14.
Order number 20-100, 7948G. Application for LED sign special permit from William Camuso on behalf of Lincoln 431 LLC, Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street. Recommendation of the Urban Affairs Committee is to approve with conditions.
Mr. President.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would move to accept and place on file the communication from the solicitor.
Motion's made and seconded to accept and place on file agenda item number 7, which is the communication from the solicitor. Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
11 yeas.
The motion to accept and place on file the solicitor's communication is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Counselor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next, I would move to approve the LED sign special permit from William Camuso on behalf of Lincoln 431 LLC, the Shell Station.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the special permit for the sign at the 431 Lincoln Street location for the Shell Station. Is there any discussion on the motion? Counselor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. As well as when this was in urban, I do not support.
I'm sorry, Counselor Irish.
As this was in urban, they did a wonderful job. City solicitor did as well. I don't feel like the residents want any additional illumination in that area. I've even been told that it could have some safety, they have some safety concerns, could be possibly traffic or anyone for pedestrians, so I will not be in support of the LED sign.
Thank you, Counselor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments or questions from the councilors?
Counselor Perlman?
Counselor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm also not in support of this. I think that Urban Affairs did a wonderful job, but I am concerned about the light pollution and how it will impact the residents in the area. So unfortunately, I can't be in support of this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Perlman. Any other comments or questions from the councilors?
I have a question. Sorry, Mr. President.
That's okay. Counselor Dumas.
This is just for the LED sign, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Not the canopies, just the sign.
It's a sign, it's the
That's-
sign.
I just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk just to read the two conditions, or is it one or two conditions? Two conditions, and then we'll call the roll.
City Council pursuant to its authority under the EMC and Digital Display Sign Ordinance hereby grants the applicant a special permit for the sign subject to the following conditions. 1, the sign shall be operated in accordance with the sign ordinance of the City of Marlborough and shall be turned off when the service station is not open for business, and all other extraneous signage shall be removed from the site. 2, all plans and/or documentation provided by the applicant as part of the application as amended during the application hearing process before the City Council and/or Urban Affairs Committee are incorporated into and become part of this LED sign special permit and become conditions and requirements of the same unless otherwise altered by the City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Kerrigan. With that, I will ask the clerk to call the roll regarding the approval of the sign permit for the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Oram votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Counselor Perlman votes no.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes no.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
9 in favor, 2 opposed, sir.
The motion to approve the sign permit for the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street is approved, 9 in favor, 2 opposed. Before we adjourn, reminder, next Monday, we'll add a sequence. Next Monday, we have a meeting, 8 o'clock, same bat time, same bat channel. Those old enough to remember. Councilor Tenera.
Mr. President, motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Counselor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Counselor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Counselor Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
We are adjourned at 9:24. Thank you, councilors. Nice job this evening, and we'll see you next week. We're adjourned.